Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Welcome to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, which is powered by AMSOIL. This episode was filmed live on our Facebook page with Kaden and Sarah Danbury. They were originally featured on episode 59, and they crushed it on this one. It was fantastic catching up and being able to kind of make eye contact with them and answer some of the questions from the audience. If you want to, you can head over to our Facebook page and watch the video as well, but this here is just the audio-only version. And I will just highlight, Facebook Live does not produce the best audio, so it's not quite as great as our typical episodes would be, but definitely have a listen to it and let me know your feedback. You can head over to iTunes, leave a rating and review. And then also, whatever podcast player you use, I would love it if you subscribed. It's the best way to ensure that you don't miss upcoming episodes. So our next episode, when we release it, is going to be part 2 of our Vegas to Reno interview session. And this one's dedicated to Bold Racing. So we're going to be interviewing Jimmy Sr. He's the owner of Bold Racing. And then we're going to interview his 2 sons, Jimmy Jr. and Josh Moore. So it's pretty cool to kind of meet up with them and have a really good face-to-face conversation. So that's going to be episode 102. The last episode that was released was episode 100, was also at Vegas to Reno. And we had 4x4 Barbie on. She's also known as Pleasant Cook. And Jim Beaver came on for his 3rd time. We had a Vision Wheels rep, Todd Robinson, Mob Armor rep, Buddy Hernandez. We had Kristen Wayne Matlock. We had Lance Robinson of Solderweld. And we also had Debbie Burgos of Race 2, Race 22. So just a packed episode, and that was all recorded at Vegas to Reno 2018. All right, well, that's it. I'm going to let the episode begin. Welcome to this episode of Sponsored Rider Club Podcast Live Edition. This is number 12. And as always, this show is powered by AMSOIL. I'm going to tell you a little bit about AMSOIL in a minute, but first I want to tell you about this episode, what we got coming up. So we've got Kaden and Sarah Danbury coming on. Wow! Sarah's already on. That's like record fast. Look at that. And she's waving. So they're coming on the show. They were originally featured on, I think it was episode 59. I put the link to that in the description, but they're coming on to talk a little bit about, you take a program that's growing, and then you mix in a racer that's growing, and then you got a few challenges you got to figure out. So we're going to talk about that now. In this case, we're talking about somebody who's physically growing. You know, Kaden is, well, he's 10 years old now, but, you know, every year, every day, he's getting a little bit bigger. He's got to get bigger machines, all that good stuff. And you have to repitch things to sponsors as a result of that. So that's one thing. But also, there's a lot of people out there that are growing their programs. They're growing the types of races that they're doing, things like that. We're going to get into all that good stuff in a minute. Kevin, what's up, man? Chris, how's it going? And then Sarah, again, you're on with Kaden, so that's great. As you guys are hopping on, Jeff Burns, welcome. Comment, wave. I'm encouraging GIFs now. I've never really used GIFs on a live show, but throw some GIFs down because I like them, and really, you know, that's all that really matters, right? But no, throw some GIFs in there, share it, invite your friends that you think would add some value or get some value out of the show. Mike, how's it going? Hey, we just recorded an episode with Mike and Danielle Gardner, and that's coming out pretty soon, so that's pretty good times. Excited for that. But what's up, Mike? All right, well, I want to tell you a little bit about AMSOIL before we get into this, and then also 2 other sponsors for this live show. But first, AMSOIL, you know, they've been partnering with this show for a little while now, and they share some of the same passions with us. So obviously, racing and oil, right? Like, those things are pretty obvious, but also around just growing the general motorsports industry. You know, we want people to get access to better information. We want them to be able to grow their programs so that they can bring in more and more dollars in the motorsports industry. So that helps for AMSOIL, right? More dollars in the industry, more people in the industry, bigger growth. But also they want really good quality people representing the different brands. Not even just AMSOIL. All of the brands out there. The better representation we have, the better image that motorsports has in general. So that's part of the whole thing, and that's why we're excited to have AMSOIL share that vision. And a couple other folks that have come on. One, you're used to seeing these guys, Bold Racing. So Bold Racing, I got their website pulled up back here. They also sell GSP XTV axles, and I'm pretty excited about seeing some of these new axles in play later this week, actually. So the Vegas to Reno event is later this week. So I'm going to be there pitting for Bold Racing. Not that I have any real mechanical skills or anything like that, but I'm going to be like, woohoo, go team, which is, that's what you need in the pits, right? But either way, they got the new long travel axles on their rides, so I'm excited to see how those things perform out there. Testing is showing really good feedback. And I know there's some other people on here that have used that as well. So we got Rohan. What was it? What up from AUS? Where's AUS? Is that Australia? Are we international right now? I hope so. Rusty, welcome. The other thing is Racing Addicts. So our next live show is actually going to feature Jason from Racing Addicts, and that's going to be pretty cool because he's going to go a little bit deeper into his program. But what I've got pulled up on the website right here is if you go to racingaddicts.com, there's a section for sponsorship program. You can legitimately put your information in there, and you're guaranteed some sort of support. And so that's pretty cool. Check that out, racingaddicts.com. And then while you're at it, why not check out Bold Racing? And if you're going to be at Vegas to Reno, come see me. I'm going to be there with a bunch of other fun people. We're going to be doing some interviews, and then we're actually going to be sitting at the Bold Racing booth for Tech and Contingency. So it's good stuff. And then Rohan just confirmed, yeah, Australia. That's it. International. We are officially an international live show. Thanks for making it happen. Tell your friends because, why not? We want as much Aussies on here as possible. So, all right, well, in a minute here, I'm actually going to bring Sarah and Kaden on. So I'm going to start working on that. If you guys are listening again, like, comment, share. But probably the most important thing is type your questions in. Oh, I'm still wearing this cowboy hat. What am I doing? Hold on, guys. I got to get this hat on. You guys should tell me I'm still wearing a cowboy hat. Even though it is a beautiful hat. I know that. It's beautiful. But leave your questions in the comments because that's really what we want to get into. So we'll talk a little bit about the topic itself, and then we'll get into your questions so we can kind of discuss them live on the show. And then we've also found that as we're talking, we actually get other people that are watching that can help answer some of the questions. So that's pretty good stuff. All right, now in a minute here, we're going to split screen. So that'll be a good time. Let's make sure it works. Ooh, that's good. Hey!
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Oh, good.
Good? You've been stressing about this. Whoa, it's been months, right? You signed up months ago. Whoa.
We pushed it. We pushed it.
This is my nervous. I don't know if you guys can see me, but this is my nervous thing. You rub your thighs and you just kind of like. That's the nervous thing.
Caden's ready to hit himself right now. He's dying.
But you two are veterans at this. Weren't you on the Dirty Dooner show?
Yeah, but we're definitely not veterans.
Hey, you were able to join pretty easily. That's actually one of the hardest barriers of entry to these things is actually getting on the call.
Oh God, yeah. I might get that down, but the actual talking part and like communication, not my number one.
Well, you can't mess up too bad because you didn't start the show with this right here. I mean, I know it's a beautiful hat, but I don't know if it fits. So.
That is true.
But all right, hey, we got some more people joining too. Let's see, Chris. Yeah, you want your razor to go faster, but you know what? It's already faster than mine. Isn't that fast enough? Kurt's on as well. Peter, welcome. Devin, Mike, yep, go Danbury. So yeah, my wife is watching. Hello,
hi,
wife.
Pete. Hi, Trisha.
Well, hey, you know what? We got a lot to talk about today. Kaden, you've been growing physically, mentally, and that means there's lots of changes that have to come to your race program. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then Sarah, as a result of that, we know that you kind of got to shift around the sponsorship pitch a little bit as well. So I don't know. Where do you want to start? Why don't you kick it off?
Well, I think we kind of thought August might be a fun time to do this with you because Kaden decided that it'd be a fun time to start driving the 570. and doing the 170 and the 570. But so back in February or his birthday, we got him a 570, and we just slowly been trying to build his car and worked with all of his current sponsors. I think we only added one more to the 570, but we've been working with them, and we've been documenting the build and the install. It's just my husband and Kaden plus whatever sponsors we have that helps with that, and we'll explain it. But just kind of excited to share what everybody has done to help Kaden, be able to move on to grow with it. So we're really excited about it. I think Kaden was going to kind of go over and talk to you guys about like who he ended up using for his build and stuff. Do you want to?
Perfect.
Want to talk?
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay.
Polaris Razor helps us with the OEM parts, and Magnum Off-Road, they built our cage, and throughout the summer, I had a summer job, so I've been working at Magnum part-time, and I built some number plates and stuff.
That was a really cool thing. He has like 3 more weeks left, and he's all, it's a lot harder to build a Razor than you think.
I gotta just highlight that though. I mean, whether it's going into the factory or helping do some of the builds yourself, like knowing what it takes, even if you aren't always the one that does it, right? Just knowing what goes into it, you appreciate it that much more.
100%. He comes back just like face dirty, like sweating.
She's like, you have to go in the shower now.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
but
so
no, he's gotten the full experience of what it takes to build a Razor, and I think it was a blessing in disguise. It helped him, work ethic, and then also just to know, like, this is what he wants to do. We can't, he needs to be able to learn how to do it, and maybe one day build his own car, and so. But yeah, go ahead. Want to go ahead?
Oh yeah. Walker Evans has helped us with the wheels and shocks, and Super ATV helped us with the powered steering kit and the axles, the radiator, and other parts that we need for the race car. And Benchmark Performance helps us with the tuning and the clutching, which helps us catch a little more speed. And Rigid has helped us with the lights.
That was the new one that we got to bring on this year. That was really cool.
For the lights, for the World Championship, we need the lights, so they helped us with that. And GBC helped us with the tires. I run the Dirt Commanders. Those run really good. These belts I'm running in the car, and I've definitely felt an improvement, which is nice. And Big Gun helps us with the exhaust, and PRP helps us with the seats and the seat belts. So I'm nice and tight in there. And then and Danbury Racing, my mom and dad. My dad has been working really hard in the car just to get the arms, the shocks, everything on there, and makes it the powered steering. He does all that for me, and thanks a lot to him. And RJ Anderson, he gave us some of the parts that whenever they ran the 570, like whenever Ronnie ran the Ace, they had some extra parts that we used on the car, which is really nice of them to give us. And SMG helps us with the wrap cost and extra parts that we need to buy. And actually this year we're running Proline wraps, and stay tuned because in 2 weeks we have the wrap coming out. And I'm really excited for that.
It's always hard.
Yeah.
I am too.
I swear, it's my hardest part.
I get unusually excited about wraps. Like, it's just, I don't know. I get too excited about it. We'll just put it that way. But continue. Yeah. So I'm going to be paying attention. You got my attention.
Oh, Lord.
Sure.
And Pro Motorsports helps us with the entry fees for the racing. And NTY Motorsports helps us with like the random parts. Like we needed lug nuts, so we bought them last Sunday for the race car, and that's what happened this week. Broke them. And then Extreme Fabrication, we bought some arms off them and long travel kit, so runs really good.
It was a lot of work. We didn't realize
That's a
how
lot.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and you take it
it
for
was cool.
granted sometimes. Like, I mean, I've never built a race car, but just even all those parts, I got stressed. Like, just sitting here, I got stressed. One, about the money, right? Like, all those things cost money. And then two is just the sheer, like, coordination and getting it all together. That's a lot, especially when you have a car, right? You've already got a
Yeah,
170 that you're
and
racing,
you're
so.
going from a 170, a small vehicle, to you're in a whole new world. Like we had, a swing arms, not, back A arms and axles
Yeah,
and tie rods, and like it's totally different. And
yeah,
so, I mean, we've had a lot of help. I mean, it's been really cool because we've been able to like call Walker Evans. Oh my gosh, Reed, what the heck? What shocks do? I think the springs are this, or this is this, and I mean, everybody from GBC tires. Let's go ahead and run these kind of tires, this size. And Kaden's gonna try Terra Masters. He's running Dirt Commanders right now. We're just gonna. It's kind of a learning curve for us. We're just trying new things, and
yeah.
I don't know. It's been crazy. It's a lot of work.
Is that your
Another
dog
job.
or my dog?
Oh, it's mine. Sorry, I tried.
Okay. We're dog sitting as well this weekend, and we just got a cat. So, like, I would not be surprised if it was my dog. I couldn't tell with the echo in my room here. But
I tried. We kicked ours out.
Yeah, we have a new puppy, and she would be barking a lot at the.
oh yeah, yep. Yeah, my new cat. If I let him down in my studio, which is also my basement, if I let him down here, he'd be knocking his camera down in a heartbeat, and then I would be fritzing with
I
water.
don't even know where ours are, but they would do the same right now.
Yeah, they're probably.
We have like a little farm here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have turtles, cats, dogs. You name it, we have it.
Yeah.
One thing that I just want to go back to a comment that Peter Libby made. Learning the machine is going to make you a better driver as well, and that is pretty big. I can't remember who told me about it. I haven't talked to Robbie Gordon specifically, but Robbie Gordon's big thing, like, he is an expert in the in the vehicle and all the dynamics, and he can just look at a vehicle and tell you how it's going to handle. You get to that point, right? And especially right now, so as a reminder too, you're 10, right? I mean, like, you're 10 years old, so even just you getting all this exposure now is phenomenal. So when you are 10, 20 years down the road and you're building your cars and you're getting knowledge now, it's gonna be tremendous in the long run.
Yeah. No, it's been exciting because, him and my husband are both, they're breaking beads, putting bead lock, the bead locks, putting the axles on, shocks, adjusting the shocks. And, I mean, this is all them doing it. And,
Yes.
I mean, really, a family. We're out there Saturday night, like, look at me and my husband on a date. No, we're in the garage, like, working on cars. So, but all four of us, even my daughter gets involved. She's separating bolts and doing this. And so, I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool family thing. It's really cool because he knows exactly. Oh yeah, remember we stripped this, and I need to watch out for this when we're racing we had this weekend.
Yeah, like at the Warfighter Made thing, we had an overheating problem. We got to way too high of a temperature, so I had to watch out for that this weekend and stay cool. So, because we had to fix it, we had to bleed like the head or something like that. And
yeah, we're just learning though,
Yeah, it's the thing with the new car, trying to learn your new car. So.
Yeah, one thing I wanna highlight, Sarah. I think you said it earlier, which I think is definitely important to the audience, is you said documenting the build. And for anybody who knows me too, and if Scott Sparrow's still on, I know he's a Gary Vaynerchuk fan, but this guy right here, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's all about.
I'm a huge Gary V fan.
Yeah, that's right. You are too, and that's what he said. Right? He says that. He says that's one of the ways that you get exposure on social media, and that's how you get people to actually pay attention and follow you, is by documenting your experience. So you don't perfect it and then share it. You document it as you're learning.
Well, for us, it was more of, how do we give back? How do we help out Polaris? I love that, the right hook. How do we give back to Walker? How do we give back to Big Gun and all these different guys and tell them social media, sure, stickers, sure, wraps, whatever. We have all our trailers are all dialed in, but what can we do more? And for us, it was perfect because here we are, a little family that is trying to figure it out, YouTubing half of it, and putting on a shock and doing it, and I'm documenting it all. And I'm gonna put out a press release. I have a photographer coming in, and once the car is totally done, and I'm going to be able to spread it. This is what these companies did for this car, and this is what we used, and and hopefully Kaden will be successful with that and being able to, win and get those cars. It's cool. I mean, that's the way it's hard for us little guys to, we don't have a ton of money to do a bunch of videos and that kind of thing. So this was something fun for us to be able to do to give back.
Definitely. Well, we did have a question from Rusty, actually, Rusty Baptist, who, by the way, he's helped me with something behind the scenes right now. I'm pretty grateful for it. Rusty is a huge contributor behind the scenes. So just a shout out there. He's always trying to link me up with guests for the show. So I appreciate that. But his question, what was the biggest difference between driving your 170 versus your 570? And don't just say the number 400 for the CCs. What's the big difference, Kaden?
It's different with power steering. It's a lot easier to steer, so I'm still getting used to that. But I'm used to like yanking a steering wheel. So like at Paula, like I thought it was in the 170, so I'm yanking the steering wheel, and it's actually going like really easy. I'm like, oh. So now I have to get used to that. And then
the sway.
I had body lane, so like I would come around the corner because we're not running a sway bar right now because ours didn't fit.
Yeah. And
then so I came around the corner. I was like coming around really fast, and there's like two little dips, and I came around all sideways, and I was on two, and there's more 1000s that did it, and it would bounce off the tree and come back up.
And full sketch.
yeah, definitely.
It was my first.
That's good.
There's a lot more to figure out, but I think like I've been driving the 1000 with training and stuff, so that's kind of giving me like 1000 is a lot harder to drive than a 170. So it's like the middle stage kind of. So I'm pretty good with the 570 right now. I'm feeling comfortable.
Good. I had a question that we weren't necessarily planning on talking about it, but since you brought up that Rigid came on this year, I mean, would you be willing to kind of share that experience? How did you connect with Rigid, and how did you, build that relationship?
Yeah, it was actually just going back to being friendly at the track, and Kaden's first year, second race ever, over 4 years ago. We were at the UTV World Championships. We knew nothing about UTVs. We knew nobody, and we just kind of went out there and just, Kaden's 6 years old. He's out there crying on the starting line. And and we're just like, okay, well, there was another family out there. Their son was racing for the first time too. And Zach was a little bit older. But he, so we ended up just like mom, dads talking and had a good old time, basically kind of hung out all weekend and got to know each other at the very end of it, and goes, hey, if you ever need anything, give me a call. I own Rigid. And I was like, oh, at that time I really didn't even know who Rigid was either. So we just kind of followed them and saw what they did. And Kaden's like, if I ever can have lights, can I use Rigid? And we're like, yeah, of course, And so throughout the years, we've just followed them as families, just seeing how Zach's grown up and Kaden's grown up and that kind of thing. And I think Kaden just DM'd him and said, hey, I'm going to be driving a 570, right?
And we need lights for Worlds, and they've helped a lot. Like they give us some big lights. They're just a little too big.
But they're great.
Yeah, they're great. And we threw them on my dad's 1000. It's brighter than our house lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of just worked out like that, and just basically just being friendly out there. It's important. You never know who you're going to be talking to, and So.
And what I want to highlight too, that was 4 years in the making, right? Like,
I know.
you know, that we hear things about overnight success a lot, and behind it you find out that it's, you know, 2, 5, 10 years of hard work and like networking. My favorite example that it was back on episode 24 with Joey D, and Joey's he works with Rigid as well, and he was just saying how UTV Underground was viewed as an overnight success. He's like, but no, he's like, I spent 2 years of my life he's like, I was up until 3 a.m. every night on these forums that doing things that people thought was ridiculous. They're like, what's this Yamaha Rhino? What's that? You know, and then the Razor came out. They're like, oh, what a cool golf cart, you know. But he said, I just kept putting the time in, and eventually I built a brand, I built relationships, and I was able to market that later. So in this case, like you said, 4 years. Like, you didn't know when you were 6 years old, did you know 4 years later that you were going to be sponsored by Rigid? Like,
no. No, he was crying at the starting line, so we didn't even know how many more races he had in him.
Yeah.
No, it was, you never know. That's why I always just be friendly out there, build relationships with everybody, you know, it's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Looks like Claudia just joined too, so we got a Romo on the line. So hello, how are you? Looks like she was giving you a hard time earlier about not being able to get a hold of you. I saw that. And I saw the playful banter.
Yeah. Kaden was more about Sierra popping up. He's like, oh no, she's gonna get me.
Yeah. So Kaden, I got a little different question. It's not really about sponsorship, but it's around, I know that you've had some pretty significant mentors in your life, you know, like Shelby Anderson, right? So she spends a lot of time coaching you. And as you grow up, so do other people, and they, you know, so now she's over in Minnesota and you've been able to visit her recently. But like, how does that feel as you're growing, you watch other people grow, you know, how do you change the way you do your racing and, you know, with your mentors going and doing different things? I mean, I know that's a big question, but what do you think about that?
No, do you understand?
Kind of.
Yeah. I did a horrible job of explaining it. What's it like with Shelby moving to Minnesota?
A lot different.
Yeah.
Like, there's some nights that we're crying because we want her home, and then there's some nights where we're excited that she's there, that she gets to do this awesome job. But we're also sad at the same time. Like, we want to see her always, but it's a good job for her, and it's cool that she's there.
At the last race, like, we got there, and he's like, it's so weird not having her here. It's so weird her not telling us, you know, this, and I don't, you know, it's different, but he learns a lot. Like, I mean, just at the last works race, she took him out in her 1000, and before his practice, and, you know, he's seeing her lines and seeing the way she checks up or doesn't check up or can go full speed on this, and
how hard to hit the brake around the corner, and how much speed to come before you need to hit the brake and turn. And then, like, sometimes she'll be like, this corner we need to carry a little more speed, and like, she's teaching herself the track while she's teaching me, which is really cool. And like, but sometimes she's sketchy. Like, we broke a sway bar in midair, and she's like, the sway bar's off. And then she pins it to turn. I'm like, the sway bar's off.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to ask that question because I encourage folks on this show a lot that it's good to find a mentor, somebody who, one, is willing to give you their time, but two, is in a place where you want to be. And, you know, whether it's actual being on the track or, you know, a sponsorship program or whatever it is. For me, you know, I spend time talking with Jim Beaver. He's helped me a lot with better understanding how to do this whole motorsports podcasting thing, you know, and I know that it's impactful, Kaden. That's why I wanted to just highlight it. I know that she means a lot to you, and you know, I think that's good to see that you have someone like that you can turn to for support. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be like, Kaden, I see you brake checking this and da-da-da. Well, if it's his mom saying that, he's just like, whatever, like, you don't know. But, and then when Shelby walks up and says, Kaden, what the heck, and it's like, oh, he all of a sudden he gets it and he listens. So, it makes a big difference to have somebody like that, that he can look up to and, listen to.
I mean, honestly, that's part of the way this whole show is structured, the way I do this podcast. I don't sit here and ramble on my own. I mean, I guess I do. I do ramble from time to time, but that's not the intent to learn from me. I don't know what I'm doing. It's to learn from people that you would look up to, right? So like Kaden, for you, I want other racers that are 6, 7, and 8. I want them to pay attention to what you're doing. I want the parents to watch what Sarah's doing, and I want you to be mentors for them. Yeah. Watch what you're doing right now on a live show.
We need the Romo on here. So we're clear that we need the whole Romo family on here. You can see what I'm up against.
I think that sounds good. I think we should get all the Romos. We'll pack them into a small area on the screen.
100%.
But yeah, I think. I don't know. I just think it's a pretty cool thing. It's a pretty cool opportunity to get access to all of these different mentors out there that you can learn from. So
yeah, I mean, even with Randy and the Romos, for instance, like we go to most of their desert races, and he learns so much. Like just seeing what it takes to be at the pits and seeing what it takes to. We see Randy just working his butt off out there, and it's so much work. Like I told Kaden, like we are, he's like, I want to do desert one day. I'm like, well, you better figure this out before you even, this is a lot.
We called Randy this morning and told us he changed mostly everything on the desert car.
Yeah.
That's,
just
crazy.
Crazy. It's he has a lot of big influences in his life that help him see the big picture too. It's not all, fun. Run around with your friends. There's a lot of hard work involved in it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I want to highlight too is, there's groups of people that in motorsports I've seen that they support and help each other, and you see them growing together as well. So for example, over the past couple of years, the Romos have come on board with Polaris. Shelby's working at Polaris. Kaden, you're supported by Polaris. And you're all helping one another, and whether it's in front of on the camera or behind the scenes or at the track, just like what you said, going out and supporting them during the desert races, that's it's helpful and it helps. It's called edification, where you bring everybody else around you up at the same time. So I think that pays off big for sponsors too.
Yeah, I don't really know how much help we are sometimes, but I mean, what I do know is that they're our family. Like no matter, last year we were at Vegas Torino to support Shelby in the trophy truck, and this year we're supposed to be out there, but with my work's I can't with work right now.
And puppy.
Working puppy. But, just to be out there and supporting your family, like, I'm going to be sitting at home staring at the laptop watching Sierra and Randy go, Yeah. But I don't know. It's exciting. It's different. We're excited for that Pete Libby's on. That's a really cool story. Is my husband and Pete Libby used to snowboard together, pre-children, pre-everything, and Dustin had said, "Hey, look, I know him, like, and we went on his Instagram and checked him out, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's Peter Libby." And we ran into him last year at Vegas Torino, me and Kaden. Yeah. And we've been just keeping in contact with him, which is, this is years. I don't even know how long, Pete, but we're talking years of and he's in Maine, we're over here. And so that's been really cool to hang out and see and watch Pete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And Jake Coleman joined, but hey, at least we didn't just finish. Last time I think you joined and we were just finishing. But looks like a few other people hop on too. Hey, for the folks that are listening right now, if you have any other questions, go ahead and type them in. We've got probably a couple more minutes until we close out. Oh, we're over time already. So Jake, maybe you did come in, but yeah, 1999. Holy cow, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
How far back?
Kaden, remember 1999?
I wasn't born.
It was good. 1999 was a good year for music. And then Claudia just said you can't handle all this a little bit earlier.
Oh, Carla's watching. Hi, Carla.
Hey, Carla, how's it going? I'd like to rope Carla and Casey on the show too at some point.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. But
Well,
I think one thing I did want to say, and I meant to say it last time on the podcast, and I feel like is really important, is I always tell him, and he gets sometimes like, oh my gosh, Mom, don't do this to me. But we say yes to everything. Like, we tell him, like, you know how scared we were to be on the show, and I'm like, okay, fine, yes. We're so excited to do it, but we try and say yes to everything. So that's important. Like, I mean, it's as long as you can keep yourself in a good position where you're not gonna hurt yourself at all or whatever. I think you should never pass up on any opportunity or anything, you know. So
there's there's a movie called Yes Man. It's all about that, Jim Carrey. But two, there's a new podcast out there. Spartan Strong puts it on. Gosh, why can't I think of his name? Oh, he just started putting it on. I blanked on his name, but either way, there's a new. It's the Say Yes podcast. And so that's all he talks about in the show. Gosh, why can't I think of his name?
I think it's Jim Riley.
It is Jim Riley. Goodness gracious. I'm going to have to edit that out before I put it up on the actual audio version. Yeah, Jim Riley. He's been doing that podcast, but I think it's pretty cool. So, Say Yes Podcast.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah. And hey, Jeremy, thanks for, that's my brother, Jeremy. What up? Thanks for coming on. So listen to this. Now, I don't know if they're doing Terra Cross this year, but my brother and I are going to be at Heydays. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm driving over to Minnesota.
I've always wanted to go there. It's a big travel for us, though.
Yeah. It's actually it's fairly easy for me. My brother, it's about 10 hours drive for him. For me, it's about 8. But we're just going to go up there, hanging out with the Amsoil crew, I think, Friday night. And then Saturday night, we're going to be with HMK and 509 and Climb, all the snowmobile gang. It's going to be a good time.
That will be fun. That's awesome.
Oh, there we go. Jake cleared it. It's Jim Riley's show. The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I listened to him. You had him on your podcast, and then I think Jim Beaver had him on his as well.
So for people who don't know, Jim Riley, while we're talking about him, he is a marketing genius. He worked for Kettle One Vodka for a long time as like a VP of marketing, and then he went and started Azuñia Tequila and built that, and then now he's building Baja United. So he's just, I don't know, it's hard to comprehend all of his knowledge. He's a wizard. So if you want to get some good knowledge, go back and find that episode Jim Riley was on. So
for sure.
Well, I don't have anything else. I really appreciate you coming on. We hit the 6 minutes over the time frame, which that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Kate, do you have any kind of last minute things to kind of close things out?
Driving a small car to a big car is a lot different and more scary.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like Sierra hopped on just at the right time to say bye-bye, everyone.
Aww.
Sarah, do you have anything last?
No, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it and getting us out of our comfort zone. It's important. Yeah, exactly. We appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Take care, everybody. Have fun and ride safe.